think there's a lot to talk about for Fred Mootz. I mean, we're going to bring him on, and not only is he the head coach of Boardman softball, he's also an umpire referee in his other seasons of work. Fred, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thanks for having me, guys.
You got it. And me and Scotty were talking about the way that parents have treated umpires has kind of not drastically changed, but have you felt like, as an umpire, as a referee, that you've seen it kind of get a little bit more worse as the years go on?
Yeah, I think mainly in the youth realm, it's gotten worse. I think the older you get in sports in the middle school realm or the high school realm, it's different. There's more consequence for coaches and parents. But, the youth realm, there's really no governing body to, hold these people accountable. I mean, you have organizations, but unfortunately, there's really not a governing body. And I think that they take advantage of that a lot. And it's gotten a lot worse, like I said, in the youth realm. And, I do youth basketball, youth football. I mean, obviously I umpire as well. And, they really have become the most frustrating groups, good, bad, or indifferent. It really doesn't matter anymore, unfortunately. So, yes, I think it's over the years, it has gotten a lot worse.
I just had a question for you. One for you, Fred, to go opposite of that. Other than obviously, doing it because you love it, is there something that going into it when you first started out umping that you weren't sure that you were gonna like that you really like now about it? Like, is there you have favorite things about it?
I mean, you have to love it to continue to do it. I think you really have to love it. The kids keep me coming back. The adults can unfortunately act, inappropriate at times, or fans or coaches for that matter. But ultimately, the kids keep me coming back because without umpires, without officials, without referees, there would, they couldn't play. And, so, the more, you hear guys say, I don't want to do it anymore. I hate it. Or, it's just too much. I always tell them, remember who it affects the most. It affects the kids. So, I do. I love it. I think as an official or referee, an umpire, you have to treat each game, the same. I go into a 10U game as I do, an 18U game, and I try to do it the same way. And I think, in that respect, over the years, I like to think that I've done a good job, and I continue to learn and get better, and that's part of it too. I think it also the officials themselves have to sometimes hold themselves accountable at times, and there's games that I've done that after the game I thought, man, I don't know that I did such a great job there, and I critique myself. I'm my biggest critic, and I obviously am willing to learn to get better, but ultimately, to answer your question, it's the kids. And again, I love it. You're not really doing it for the money because ultimately the money is, I mean, it's depending on what you do, it can be profitable if you're doing tournament softball on the weekends as opposed to a Friday night football game. You're doing it because you love it, because, it's not for the money. Because once you go out after, you have something to eat, and with your crew and stuff, it's not about the money you made that night.
You brought up football, and you're gearing up for another football season, putting on those stripes, and give everyone like kind of a behind the scenes picture on what goes into refereeing football. And obviously you have to build a camaraderie with your crew that you work with in football, and what kind of goes into a Friday night for you and your responsibilities?
There's a lot. I mean, it's funny because Friday night football, you're there hours ahead of time. You're there for the longest period of time for a game. Basketball game, you can be in and out in an hour, but you can get there 15 minutes prior. But football is a little different. You got to do a pregame with your crew. We do a little bit of traveling with our crews, so we go out and see some other areas that, obviously that aren't local, that, we'll go up north, we'll go to Cleveland, Canton area. So you get to see other teams, that you wouldn't normally see, which is kind of cool too. And other stadiums that you may have never been in. So there's a lot that goes into it. We have a good camaraderie with our crew. We have a lot of fun, but, it's a 10-week season, and you really got to be on at your best, because, a couple of mistakes by the crew can cost the team, the potential to make the playoffs. I mean, everybody in basketball and, softball and baseball, and they all make the playoffs, so, but for football, it's a little different animal. So, you have to be your best always. Obviously you're going to make mistakes. We're like Scotty said earlier, you're human. You're going to make mistakes. But football, Friday nights, there's a lot that goes into it. We pregame. We're there, a couple hours prior. We walk the field. We meet, with the administration. The site, obviously, maybe the athletic director, assistant athletic director, whoever it may be. But it's fun. I mean, then after we go out and we enjoy the company after, and, you kind of, decompress. It's a stressful, couple of hours for sure, especially my job. I'm a wing. So normally I'm hearing, the coach in your ear nonstop. So, but again, we do it because we love to do it, and we do it for the kids more than anything.
I think a lot of people outside of the realm think that you get to handpick what games you go to, and you get to kind of choose, I want to go here this week. And that's not really how it works. You are scheduled, you are sent to where you go.
Right.
Do you know everywhere you're going to be throughout the season when the season starts, or is it a week by week basis?
No, you may not know, some assigners are different. They may assign, the exact game, each week. This is the game you're going to do a year ahead of time. The assigners we work for up north a little bit, they're a little different. We know what conference it may be, but maybe not know what games it'll be until maybe, a month or two prior to us, doing the game. So, yeah, ahead of time who you're doing. And, maybe not, like I said, some assigners are differently. They're assigned a year and a half in advance, especially with, lower level games and basketball games. And, and obviously there's, a lot of games every night. So, yeah, so you will know ahead of time, maybe, within a year, maybe sometimes within a couple of weeks, depending on, the actual assigner themselves.
Do you know where you'll be week one?
Actually, it's funny you say that. I do, but I don't. Let me see here. We are week one. We are doing, we are at Willard. So we are doing South Central against Willard at Willard. So two schools I haven't had yet. So once again, that's our week one. It's fun. Actually, week two, we have still yet to know where we'll be for week two. And I think week three we are at Beaver Local, Minerva against Beaver Local. So, yep, there's still a couple of games out there that we have not received yet.
Do you like going to these new schools and meeting the new people and kind of taking in a new atmosphere and a new community? Like you said, week one, you're going to be somewhere where you've never been before.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, like I said, and there are so many guys that get caught up in I don't want to do these lower level games. They're not as, I don't know. I guess they don't. I treat every game the same. I mean, so, those kids all put on their pads the same way, whether it's D7 or D1, and a lot of these guys get caught up in, I want to do the, higher level games, the Boardmans, the Fitches, the whatever the case may be. Not me, not our crew. We treat it all the same. So, yeah, it is kind of cool. Like I said, I've been around a while umpiring and officiating, and there's so many schools in the state of Ohio. It's unbelievable. And so to see some of these other schools, and some of these fields that are even some of these lower level fields, it's amazing how unbelievable some of these stadiums are, to be able to go down or go up or go down and see, so yeah, it's kind of cool.
Is football any easier to handle because of the fact that you're a little more separated from the fans than you are in basketball and softball?
From a fan standpoint, yes, maybe, but it's the most difficult game to officiate because there's so much going on. I mean, You obviously have responsibilities, what position you work, and a lot of times when you start out, everybody gets caught up, in ball watching and not really, maintaining their keys to what they have going on. But from a fan standpoint, possibly, but don't worry, the coaches make up for it, especially when you're a wing official.
Being a referee and then obviously having to put the coach hat back on in the spring, does it help you keep in perspective what the umpires are dealing with when you maybe a call doesn't go your way or doesn't go the way you would want it to go? You kind of know what that's like to be back there and you can handle it in a better way. Do you think that's helped you as a coach to handle the umpires in a much better and more respectful way?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, number one, I know them all, and there's not one I probably don't know unless, they're obviously coming maybe from, Canton or Cleveland area, some Trumbull kind of guys I don't maybe necessarily know, or ladies for that matter, because there's a lot of good lady umpires, officials out there, for the record. So, yeah, I think so. There's not a rule that I don't know, so there's not something they can, tell me something different, but because I know the rules. But it does. I'm still going to coach my team. Obviously, I may not agree with everything. My biggest thing is as an official and as a coach, in general, is just hustle, just work hard. If you miss something, but you hustled, you worked hard to be in position, maybe you missed it. You're again. So what? There's two out there for most games. For high school umpires, for lower level basketball games. When I first started doing a couple of varsity games and seeing the difference between 3 and 2 officials, it's unbelievable. It is absolutely unbelievable how much more you will see on a basketball floor with 3 officials. But with 2 out there, it's tough. Major League Baseball, I tell people they have 4 umpires out there and they go to review because these guys miss stuff and they're the best of the best. These players do almost everything perfect, almost all the time. Of course, they make some mistakes here or there, but it's very few and far between. These umpires behind the plate in Major League Baseball, it's unbelievable what these guys do. Within inches, and you got guys taking pitches that are, just barely off the plate. And these guys, they get it right. I think it's an average of 15 calls or something they miss or pitches per game. Think about how many pitchers are thrown in a Major League Baseball game. Right. It's unbelievable, 9 inning game. So, yeah. So, I definitely, from the perspective of being an official, but also, like I said, if you're working your butt off and, maybe you miss something, I can live with that. And because, again, I tell the girls, we control what we can do to win a game or lose a game. Does not come down to umpiring. There's so many other opportunities, we face during a game that we can decide a game with, me as a coach or us as players.
So that's how it has affected your attitude as a coach. But you're also, you're a parent that watched softball for a long time. You watch softball as a fan. How does it impact how you act in the stands when you're watching your own kid? I know Paige just finished, but back in her career.
Yeah, you know what? I generally didn't really say I'm not going to say I never said anything because right. I've been guilty of that. But I would never take it to that place of being disrespectful or being ejected or possibly, whatever the case may be. They're obviously, we're all human as well on the outside. And that's why as a good official, a referee, an umpire, all that, you have to be willing to listen to that. That comes with the game. It's come with the game from the beginning of time. It's not just something that just happened. Coaches are going to coach, fans are going to be fans. If you're doing a good enough job out there, you're not listening for that stuff. You're not trying to hear that stuff anyway. So as long as it doesn't disrupt the game, I could hear the come on blues all day. Where'd that pitch miss all day? That just comes with the territory, comes with, being an official. And you have to be willing to, a lot of that stuff to, roll off your back. Can't have rabbit ears out there. You just can't.
What is one sport that you don't officiate that you would like to, or that you would be interested in putting your hat in?
That's good. That's a good question. I guess volleyball. I would think maybe volleyball. I don't know. They say it's kind of easy, so I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know. I did the lines a couple of games.
yeah. I was about to say, did you ever do like a line judge as a
Yeah, I
volunteer?
worked up at Badger for Pat Carney up there a couple of times, and you know, I guess volleyball would probably be it. I mean, it's it's fast moving game. It's indoors. It's like I always tell people, I love basketball. It's 72 in the gym all the time. So it's not 12 below out like it could be for a football game late in the year.
Yeah, and I want to see Fred with some flags at the line, whipping those flags around.
You might see me a couple more times this year, possibly. If I'm off on a basketball night, I might be doing it.
So now we have to talk a little bit about your program because the feeder, the Little League girls are still alive. They're going for a regional, and these are girls that you're going to have in a couple of years. Hopefully,
Yeah.
if everything works out, you never know. But when you're watching them represent Boardman and you know that this is, going to be your future, what are your takeaways in the summer so far? And obviously you've been doing this a long time, so you've seen girls go from 12U to get to you. What are the developments that an experience like this can have for those girls?
Well, I tell you right now, they've made history, so that says a lot in itself. I mean, we haven't won a state title in the 11 and 12-year-old division since 1976. So this group here is pretty darn good. They've been amazing to watch. These coaches have done an amazing job. They've represented our school, our community with nothing but, class and dignity. And I'm so proud of this group. I got the chance to go up and watch the state championship game. And I tell you, this is a special group here, man. I mean, they play tough. I mean, they play together. If it's Emma Davies doing her thing in the circle and then all of a sudden, boom, they implode in an inning by just having 9 consecutive hits. I mean, they put it all together. This team's very dangerous, and I tell you right now, in the regional, they can make some hay, and I'm so excited and cannot wait to watch them down there. And I'm so proud of each and every one of these young ladies. And Little League baseball, softball, it's special to me, not just as a coach, but as an umpire. Like I said, too many people have gone away from playing the game, and I'm just so ecstatic that these parents, and I'm so proud that they kept with it and allowed their daughters to play and be able to represent Boardman and the state of Ohio now in the regionals. I mean, I can't be happier for this group of girls.
You've obviously seen girls go from 12U to your varsity level, and you've seen them develop, and you've probably seen girls not get there and either fall in love with another sport or go a different way. What do you think is the kind of the difference maker between the girls that stick with it and the girls that don't?
Well, I just think you hit one of them on the head. I think multiple sport athletes. There's so many of them nowadays. So some girls who might be amazing at 12 years old at softball start to fall in love and with basketball and maybe they improve much more from 12 to 14 or 15 in basketball or whatever the case may be, whatever sport, soccer. So I've seen some girls do some things. Madison Lester, for example, from the age of 12 to 14. I'm not sure I've seen a girl improve. Actually, any athlete at that, and I say it all the time. What she did from 12 to 14 was unbelievable. I mean, she was just, 12 years old. She was finding her way. She was learning how to, obviously throw the ball hard, but also have that command. And so again, I think there's a lot of things. I mean, family life. I mean, things, peer pressure, things, school. There are a lot of things that affect that, and, as a softball coach, I want to be, selfish and hope that they, stick with softball. And, and I'm not one of these coaches that believe in, you should be playing only softball only. Listen, the best athletes are out there playing multiple sports. You keep your fingers crossed, that they don't get hurt. I mean, obviously, basketball, I lost Natalie Davis last year. We're so excited about the season Natalie would have been able to have. But unfortunately, it wasn't in the cards. She got hurt, but super excited to see her get ready to come back this year and lead this team. So things happen. You keep your fingers crossed, but ultimately, obviously there are a lot of factors that come into play. Jobs. I mean, I see some girls, they start working and and then maybe sports now become secondary. It's just multiple things.
We'll bring it back full circle before we let you go back to refereeing, and I want to know, what is the best football game you've ever been a part of as a referee?
Oh, wow. That's a good one. Man, I'm trying to think because actually last year we had, if I can remember, it was Tuslaw and God, I can't remember now. It was whoever we had last year. There's so many; they all run together. But it ended up being two teams that were, they came in with not the greatest records. I think one was 0-6 and one might have been 1-5, and it was an unbelievable game, back and forth game. Actually, no, you know what? I take that back. Sebring, Jackson Milton was better last year. That game came down to the very last play of the game. So I take that back. I say Sebring, Jackson Milton last year. Unbelievable finish. Great game, back and forth. So that probably was it. Race Meal, the legend. I don't know about that, Rich. You're the legend, Ray. You're the legend.
This is DJ. Cleo been a dream. So do you think that this is normally a product of society, what he's talking about?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think so. I mean, I think, guys are saying nowadays, look, if we're going to do it and we're going to go out there and have to, to continue moving forward and, doing a quality job, we want more money. And, it's just not, I don't think it's just that. I think that, every year you're buying new stuff. Now, OSHA has now changed the logo. So now in a couple of years, they're going to want you to, have to buy all new stuff, so, each year, I mean, like I said, it's not for the money. I mean, you have to pay, your dues every year. You have to research your certification every year, pay that. You're buying new gear every year. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of these guys are, that's what they're doing now, saying, hey, you know what, we just won't do the games if you don't step up and pay more money. So,
what do you think about this? What comes first, shortage of
coaches? That is an unbelievably great question right there. That is a great question. Me personally, I think coaches. I really do. I really believe that. That's a great question, though, and something else that I've talked to people multitudes about. And same thing, coaching. It's the same. But I would, to answer your question, DJ, I say coaches. I really believe that.
When that being said, that you feel that way when you see someone trying to kind of get into coaching or trying to, scratch that itch of coaching, like what are some advice that you give to them to like stay the course and try to nurture that coach so they can grow up and to be, a coach to not help out with that shortage?
Yeah, I mean, it's patience. It takes patience. There are times that are, I'm not going to lie, that are trying as a coach. There's times that, you think to yourself, is it worth it? But you know what? It is worth it because I love my girls and it's all about them. So, that's what keeps me coming back. Them as people, they're human. They're just amazing. They're families. Again, as starting out, when I started out, it was like, wow, what did I get myself into? There's a lot more that goes into this than coaching the game of softball. I knew the game of softball. I'm obviously still learning. There's so much more I need to learn to be, a great coach. But, I pretty much felt like, I could coach. Coaching part of it is there. But, man, it's like all the ins and outs, that the behind the scenes stuff that goes along with it. And, obviously, start at the youth, the youth level. That is the most important because so many coaches don't, there's that disconnect there. And I don't know why. I mean, that's your future. And I think, sometimes, people say, well, girls leave to go to other schools or do this or do that. Sometimes I believe that's part of it. It's like, where's the interest from maybe that particular high school? So, that's important, because they are the future, and to try to get your girls involved, your high school girls involved with the youth, is important. And, giving back. And again, I love it. There's nothing more than I love than going to practice every day, and seeing the girls. And even, I had tough times, obviously in the spring, losing my brother. It was the biggest thing was getting back and seeing them happy faces. Some of them, the crazies I had on this team, and really just that's what it's all about, and that's what I love about it more than anything, because ultimately you have to love what you're doing.
Coach and referee, we thank you so much for joining us today to give us a little bit of a glimpse into what it's like to get ready for the football season as a referee, and we thank you for joining us, and we'll look forward to talking again real soon.
It was a pleasure. By the way, Greenwood Chevy, I see you sponsor your show. bought my car out there. They are great people out there. My man Timmy Demane took care of me out there. So
There you go.
they really are great. Honestly, he set me up. He's my guy. So anybody who wants to buy a car should go to Greenwood, in my opinion. But that's all I got.
Was it a midlife crisis car? Did you get
No. Just my Equinox. Just to be able to put all my softball stuff in the bag.
Right.
So, but they're wonderful people out there. They took care of me, and anybody that needs a car, honestly, not just plugging them. Honestly, they should go out there. Great people out there.
We appreciate that, and we appreciate you so much. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much. We'll see you, Scotty. Take care, guys.